You know, last year I dug and set about 60 railroad ties doing my fencing project and all these poles around the pole barn here that I'm going to put an extension on. And through the process of that, I was using a 12-inch auger. I did stress this 3-point hitch some. It's a hitch that I got from Steiner Tractor. It's a category 2 tractor made for horsepower from 40 to 100, and I'm on the bottom end of that scale, but I wanted a 3-point that was pretty stout. Well, through the process of that, I had to reinforce part of the side frame on this 3-point. Well, putting this backhoe on it and extending this hoe out and trying to work some of the air out of these cylinders, I've noticed that the top roller bar that connects to the top link of the 3-point is starting to bend. And I'm going to start the tractor up and kind of show you what's happening there. And I think I need to run it into town and do some reinforcements on that also. Got the pressure off of this top link. I got the full 3-point and this whole backhoe assembly I've got blocked up underneath to kind of take the pressure off the 3-point. So I've already rebuilt this whole assembly here and reinforced it. But in order to get this top roller out, I have to take one side off so I can slide this out, disconnect my cylinder with my 3-point arm. This is a brace down to the drawbar frame. And these are what attach to the axles themselves. And you see this extra push plate I put here and a brace there to strengthen up this framework. And I need to support this drawbar carrier. High lift jacks are not my favorite jack. I'd rather have a hydraulic. But I don't have a hydraulic out here. So I'm just going to put a little weight on that. Just to take that, because I got to take that bottom bolt that this carrier here bolts onto my side frame, and then we're about ready to take this off. So I'm going to carry that, just take that handle out so I don't knock it loose. I got to crawl underneath and get that last bolt. Now I go to crawling around out here, I kind of take an eyeball first. You know, I've killed a number of rattlesnakes around here, and they hunt up shade when it's this hot, and I really don't like their company. So I always kind of eyeball things first. Kind of tight in there when I added that extra framework. I get my hand right in the middle of the way there, don't I? When I put this back together, I'm going to take this whole thing to the shop and brace it up. When I come back, I'm going to bring a hydraulic jack. Get under this a little better. So that pretty much kicks me loose. I'll go up on top and take that out. Well, this is what we need right here. Kick that jack out of the way, which I might. That's what we want. She's pretty bent. Now I'll head back to town and put this in the press. I think you can see the amount of bend in this. Got quite a little bit of drop, 1/4 of an inch. I measured the change in the spread. We're 31.5 at the bar. Out here at the tip, we're 32.5. So we spread this out quite a bit, and you can see this pretty severe bend in it right through here. So I'm going to stick this in the press and straighten this back out to get these to where they're parallel again. And then I'm going to put some kind of a brace. I'm going to stiffen this up. We've got this started here. I put a strap around this arm, just kind of make sure it doesn't come flying out on me. Kind of secure that a little bit. This is an air over hydraulic 50 ton. I took a little bit out of this side, but I need to take a little more out of this side. Yeah. Lower this. I go I got about 10 ton on it now. You've got a little bit of belly this direction, a little bit past. I'll take some pressure off and see if it stays. I went back a little. I think we're pretty straight there. A little tough to measure across my arms because the press is in the way. I think I'll take it out and lay it down and see how close I am. There I can measure. So we were 31.5 at the rod. So we're 31.25. So I'm a little bit bent past, which is a good thing. So we're a little bit this direction, which brings the arms here a little closer together. So that's a good thing. Well, something else that showed up, you know, I've got this pretty straight. Put a straight edge on the back side, and you know, everything looks pretty decent. I'm measuring 1/4 inch narrower at the tips than I am here. But you'll see my two arms here aren't laying flat on my table with my saw here that I double up as a bench. See, I've got this deal. These are up almost like 3/4 of an inch on this one side. So my question is, was it not welded straight, or in the process of this bending like so, did it somehow twist? You know, the connections to the lower arms are adjustable, so you know I could compensate for that, but it kind of bothers my head. It should be parallel. So the question is, how do I take a 2-inch solid pipe and twist it to where these two arms will be parallel? I would have to heat it here in the middle somewhere and make that twist in it. And I think what I can do, my welding table isn't fastened permanently. Now I have a flat top and it's 18 inches wide, and on here I need about 16 inches to clamp this down. So if I were to clamp this down all cold, I would probably twist my table. But if I clamp one side down, and this side down here, and then heated this up and gradually clamp the other one down, I think I could get the twist. If this was hot enough, I could get the twist to happen here and leave my table square. That's what I think I'm going to try. I'm going to end up welding some plate on here, so I'm going to mess all this up anyway and have to clean it up and repaint it. So I'm not too worried about doing that, messing this all up. But I think that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to try to straighten these two arms out so that they are laying flat and parallel. So this is what I got. I pulled my welding table out from the wall. You know, it's kind of shaky, but it's kind of flat. This is the arm that was up while I clamped it down, and clamping it down, it brings this side up. So I have two 80,000 BTU torches, rosebuds, I'm going to put in this area here. It doesn't really matter where, I guess, actually. When I get that good and cherry, close to white hot, where it is softer than the table, I'm going to take this clamp and clamp it here and try to bring that down and twist this bar back to where these two arms are parallel with each other. I think we're good. I got a little bit of a crown that kind of showed up in here. I'm going to straighten it out a bit. Nothing to do is just let her cool. And we'll see what we got. I think we got her. We're not cool. In fact, there's a lot of heat in that yet. But the red has gone out of it. Kind of see it's back to the gray again, but there's a lot of heat there. As I eyeball across these two arms, you know, they seem to be pretty parallel. Kind of see here. Look across one to the next, and even if I take off these pipe clamps, and I think we can still see that as we look across these, I think they're going to stay pretty parallel. Once this cools off, I'll go ahead and put them back on the bench, a flat table, and we'll see just how close we are. Well, that makes a big difference. Now it sits down square like it should. So now I can brace it. I'm going to add some bracing on both sides here to strengthen this bar. Well, I got a 1/2 by 3. I'm going to sandwich that on one side. And then I got a 3/8 by 3. I could use another 1/2, but I'm gonna bring it right in between here and give this some sideways strength. So that's kind of my plan. That's where it wants to bend. That's where I'm gonna plate it. Kind of counteract that bend. Well, if these arms here are sticking up past this 2" in both these end plates, I'm going to put this bar in. It's a 3/8 that brings it up flush here. So then I can bring this on and get it welded good and solid. So I'm going to put this on first. This is how I finally have it sandwiched between 2 3" plates. Well, my initial thought on repairing this top bar of this 3-point, I was going to cut it all apart and put a piece of 2" solid 4140 in there. But when I got to considering everything that had to be cut apart and the degree of rebuilding, that's why I decided to go with this 3" plate on both sides, and I think it's going to really stiffen it up where it'll handle the weight of this backhoe. So anyway, we'll go out and put this back on and see how it works. And on a second note, I'd like to say I apologize for the poor quality of the audio on some of these little clips. I do have a lavalier mic that is coming that'll help improve the quality of that audio, so hopefully the future videos will be a little bit better. And lastly, as you have noticed, if you've been following along very long, in the last few weeks there's been some scammers and spammers that have been playing in the comment section. They're using my Engels Coat Shop name and talking about how they so appreciate your comments, and they're trying different tactics. But just as a heads up, be aware, I'm not going to ask you for anything in reply to a comment you made or any special offers or all that. But if you pay close attention, they have kind of hijacked my logo and they use my name, but it's not me. So just kind of a heads up, just be cautious who you respond to in these comments. My wife, Diane, actually does the majority of the responding on these comments. She really enjoys going through them and she keeps me abreast of a lot of these questions. And so anyway, she will come up as Diane Engel, and occasionally I do, but you'll see Engels Coat Shop. But I'm not going to have a lot of extra garbage along with it to entice you for anything. So just beware, heads up. Once again, thanks for following along. Thanks for watching.